Have you ever wondered what happens when an entire race unites against a common enemy? When humanity was first recognized by the Galactic Council, they were met with mild curiosity and skepticism. They weren't particularly special. Average tolerance to heat and cold, decent strength. The only remarkable trait was their rise to sentience despite not being apex predators. However, they were perceived as lacking honor. The death of one leader would ignite wars of succession lasting years. Humans were neither the worst nor the best species in the galaxy. The Traxi, a galactic race known for their strategic cunning, saw an opportunity to exploit humanity's perceived weaknesses. They waited patiently for a spark to ignite human civilization into chaos. 27 years after humanity's recognition, that spark erupted into a catastrophic war, plunging the entire human race into a bloodbath. The first week of conflict brought images that still haunt me, scenes of unparalleled brutality and slaughter. As the human conflict neared its end, the Traxi struck. Millions of their troops and battleships invaded human-controlled territories. One by one, human planets fell, and millions died. The rest of the galaxy turned away, unwilling to get involved. Some even aided the Traxi, providing provisions and weaponry in exchange for conquered human lands. Humanity seemed on the brink of annihilation. But instead of fading into extinction, humans did the unthinkable. They united. Years of animosity and hatred vanished within weeks. People who had sworn to kill each other now greeted as brothers. The Traxi advance, once unstoppable, ground to a halt. After conquering almost 73% of human territory in 6 weeks, they failed to gain another light year for 8 months. The Traxi had made a fatal mistake. They had given humanity a common enemy. 2 years into the Traxi-human conflict, the tide began to turn. The Traxi media called their retreat a strategic move to inflict heavy human casualties. While this might have been partly true, humans recovered their territories and fortified them. Insane tactic in Traxi eyes. The Traxi attacked repeatedly, but the humans held their ground. Then, just as it seemed the humans were content with their reclaimed territory, they launched massive counteroffensives, forcing the Traxi into a chaotic retreat. 6 years into the war, it had become the largest conflict in 500 years of galactic history. The Galactic Council assumed humans would cease hostilities once their territories were reclaimed. They were wrong. Humanity didn't just want to reclaim their lands. They wanted to eliminate the Traxi threat entirely. They sought revenge for the bloodshed and were determined to get it. In a twist of fate, the Traxi now fought for their survival. The Council, in a state of panic, called for emergency peace talks. Surprisingly, the humans agreed, leading to the first ceasefire since the war began. Representatives from the humans, the Traxi, and the 9-member council races convened for peace discussions. The humans conducted themselves with reason and understanding, impressing the council members. However, they refused to engage directly with the Traxi. The peace talks progressed until the Traxi raised the issue of reimbursement. As the conquered party, they demanded monetary compensation for any lands still held by human forces at the treaty's signing. The entire human delegation fell silent. Finally, one of their members spoke up, "Please tell me this is some kind of joke." The member for Chennai responded, "Of course not. It is their right to ask, and it is your duty to comply. To not do so is simply incomprehensible." The human delegation remained silent until their leader stood up. "We understand the need for peace, but let us be clear. Reimbursement for territories seized in a war of aggression is not negotiable. We have fought for our survival, for our right to exist. We will not pay for the lands soaked with the blood of our people. If you insist on this demand, the talks are over." The room fell into a tense silence. The Traxi representatives, realizing the unyielding resolve of the humans, hesitated. The council members exchanged uneasy glances. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Would the peace talks succeed, or would the galaxy witness another devastating chapter in this brutal conflict? Only time would tell. Calmly, "You will have our answer within the hour." With that, the human leader left the room, followed wordlessly by his entire delegation. The council members, pleased with the outcome of the talks, sighed in relief. It appeared the humans were willing to back off. We waited for their response, anticipating an acceptance of peace. Exactly 1 hour later, the council received a message from the human leader. For several seconds, the vid screen displayed only his face, a peculiar look in his eyes. He did not speak or move, simply stared. The member for Chennai suddenly remarked, "Blasted human emotions. So goddamn hard to read. Computer, identify emotion," he ordered. The computer chimed, emotion identified, barely contained rage. At that moment, the human leader spoke, cutting off the computer. "My dear council members," he began, turning to smile at the Traxi representative. "I regret to inform you that we cannot accept the terms for peace as they stand." Silence filled the room. The human leader continued, still smiling, "However, we are willing to compromise." A Traxi soldier burst into the room. "Sir, the human ships are on the move." The vid screen split, showing the Traxi homeworld surrounded by the entire human armada. The Traxi representative stammered, "What? How? When did you do this?" The human leader's smile broadened. Without warning, the human armada opened fire. In seconds, thousands of years of Traxi culture were incinerated. Billions of innocent lives were lost before they could comprehend the horror. One of the greatest empires in the galaxy was no more. No one moved or spoke. The Traxi's grief was soundless. The human leader spoke again. "As you can see, we have decided to compromise. 16 billion of my fellow humans have died since the outbreak of this conflict." Stunned, everyone turned to look at him, grappling with the immense loss of life. "I feel that trading 10 billion innocent Traxi for 16 billion innocent humans is more than a fair compromise." His words dripped with venom and scorn. "As a race, we are now open to any negotiation of peace." "Are you insane?" roared the member from Chennai. "You have just declared war on the entire Galactic Council. Peace? This is as far from peace as any being can achieve. There will be no peace until your vile race is wiped from even the memories of my grandchildren." The human leader turned his still smiling face to the member of Chennai. "Good." His eyes blazed with fury. "I was hoping you would say that. 14 days have passed since the Traxi-human war ended. There was no peace treaty, no surrender, no ceasefire. One side simply no longer existed. It has been a long 14 days since the Galactic Council declared war on the humans. For Council races have defected, disgraced by the Council's initial inaction and failure to prevent the human loss of life in the early stages of the conflict. These races had voted to stop the Traxi when they first showed interest in humans, but were bullied into inaction by the Chennai. It's unthinkable that 4 races have defected, but then again, this is the first time in 570 years that the Council is at war, and not since its formation has it been at war with itself. In just 34 years, humans have torn down millennia of tradition, cooperation, and understanding. "Oi, mate." My new friend grinned, waking me from my daydream. He was absently picking his nails with a metallic close combat weapon. "Not having second thoughts on me, are you?" I grinned back. "Not on your life, my friend. This will be the first time in nearly 600 years that the Anorak have been to war." I looked at my friend, my grin broadening. "No, no, my friend. On the contrary, it has been much too long. This shall be fun." His grin burst into an all-out laugh. "Just stay alive long enough, and I'll show you how to cook the perfect steak." I shook my head, smiling.
Humans, truly insana.